Good evening. My name is James Bunch, and today we're going to be discussing vaccines a little bit, hopefully to persuade and inform about their usefulness, history, and implications towards society as a whole. We will begin by discussing a little history, then we'll talk about a little science, then we'll discuss the various benefits, drawbacks, and opposition arguments toward vaccines. So without further ado, a little history about vaccines and the nature of inoculation toward human disease. Around 1000 AD, the Chinese first realized that someone who'd had a disease was less prone to getting the same disease. Given some time, approximately 800 years, in 1799, a gentleman by the name of Edward Jenner developed the first rudimentary smallpox vaccine by injecting an 8-year-old boy with pus off of a cowpox, a similar disease, pustule from a milkmaid's chin. Over the course of time, gentlemen like Pasteur, who you know likely from your milk, worked on rabies, and then yellow fever developed by a gentleman named Maxwell Thelier. And over the course of the 19th and the 20th century, vaccines and the idea of inoculating in order to prevent disease rather than just waiting for populations to die out from disease became very popular ideas. One interesting fact, in 1938, the March of Dimes was actually founded by Franklin Delano Roosevelt in order to combat the spread of polio and look for polio vaccine. They had up to, I think, 30,000 letters on one day mailed to the White House with a 10-cent donation in each of them, raising more than $2.5 million over the course of a week. So a little science. When it comes to your immune system, cells display markers called antigens. These antigens are usually in the form of proteins presented by a cell on the surface. When a dangerous cell, or really anything that's not warranted, gets into the body, large white blood cells called macrophages are primarily responsible for their destruction and the primary defense of your body. Over the course of 24 hours, white blood cells called neutrophils eventually build up and attack invading cells. But what does this have to do with vaccines? Special lymphocytes called B cells and T cells have dual natures. They have a protective role and they have an offensive role. And a vaccine is an attenuated version of the virus that you were trying to prevent that activates these B cells. So rather than getting sick and having the full-blown virus, you simply get the activation of the cells and acquired immunity. So the benefits of vaccines. Vaccines are, in essence, attenuated viruses that activate your immune system without making you sick. Ergo, while it is possible to have a small local reaction, a true vaccine cannot give you the disease that it's meant to vaccinate against. Since the widespread use of vaccines, we've developed something in our society called herd immunity, which is the overall protective nature of everyone in society. So if someone, say Aaron, for example, can't be vaccinated for some reason, because we are all vaccinated, we won't have the disease and Aaron won't contract the disease since no one else around him has the disease. And this has led to marked decreases in deaths from various diseases such as smallpox, yellow fever, chickenpox, rubella, etc. over the course of the 19th and the 20th century, and now the 21st centuries. So there are oppositions to vaccines. This gentleman, Andrew Wakefield, published a false article in the Lancet, a British journal, that described children developing autism as soon as 1 month after receiving the MMR vaccine, which vaccinates against mumps, measles, and rubella. His false study, which he was discredited for, was disproven, and two gentlemen, Gerber and Offit, published an article in 2009 really describing the process of disproving this false vaccine theory. Though opposition has remained, there's a famous actress, Jennifer McCarthy, who notably popularized the autism vaccine argument on Oprah's show, leading to numerous children, according to Brown, that have not been vaccinated leading to outbreaks such as measles in California, most recently at Disneyland, and others across the United States. So when it comes to vaccines, there really is evidence that they are a cornerstone in preventing the widespread decimation of society by disease. And that sounds terribly morbid, but when you look at the history, you look at the science, and you look at the benefits and the risks associated with vaccination, it really is clear that vaccines are one of the most crucial scientific developments in our society today. We have works cited and the end of the presentation. Thank you.